I now want to move on to our finance report. Finance is not my strength. I have a good high-level understanding of our accounts. The detail, not always not so clear. So you'll see up in the corner here, and we'll just pin him if we can. We'll pin him so. Hold on. We should be able to hear Pete through there. Here, so I'd like to introduce you to Pete Elderkin, who's our General Manager of Finance. Pete, could you speak so we're going to see if we can hear you?
Yep. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. We can. The interpreters can hear you.
Great.
Pete, would you like to walk us through a high-level summary of the accounts, please?
Sure. Okay. Thank you for letting me attend your meeting today. It's always a privilege to speak here. So I'm based in Auckland and I look after the finances for Deaf Aotearoa, and obviously work closely, particularly with the DAO board. So thank you to them for their support this year. So just to give a brief summary for our financials for the year. So this is the year, our financial year that ended on 30 June 2020. So overall, the organisation had $7.7 million in to the business and 6.69 out. So overall, we made 1.157 as a surplus for the year. So 1.157 million as a surplus for the year. So that may be, and just to mention some of the notes that David McKee has mentioned in the annual report, you'll see it there. Maybe that sounds a lot of money and surprising in a COVID-19 year. So perhaps I'll just mention the reasons. So it's important to note that we had three unique revenue income streams this year. First off, we had a bequest. So somebody who passed away left money to Deaf Aotearoa, and that was about $440,000. So a gentleman called Victor Galvin, G-A-L-V-I-N, Mr. Galvin, left us $440,000 when he passed away. So that was very, very kind. Also, unexpectedly, at the second point, we had some shares gifted to us very kindly from the Deaf Development Fund. That was $554,000, so almost over $500,000. And in our accounts, that's classed as income. Although they're shares, they're pieces of paper as such, and it's not available for us to go and spend those shares as operational funding. We use the shares, we get a dividend, so an amount of money each year for the value of the shares, and we use that for education, training, World Federation of the Deaf events, and other activities. So that's what we use the dividend from the shares for. And the third unusual item this year is we received a wage subsidy from the government's COVID-19 fund. So that wage subsidy was $370,000 roughly. We, Deaf Aotearoa, was eligible for this subsidy as our income was significantly impacted by the COVID-19 situation. We worked out for sure that our income was reduced by over 30% in 2 months. April and May, we received 30% less revenue into Deaf Aotearoa. So that's quite a significant amount. So that wage subsidy of 370,000 helps to cover some of that loss of income that we suffered. Also, with COVID-19, we had some unexpected costs. So roughly about $33,000, because we have staff across the whole of New Zealand, and we had to arrange suddenly to work and provide services with staff working from home during lockdown. So it might be IT gear or delivering equipment around the country. So lots of additional costs we wouldn't normally get. So it's a very unusual year. So those three items, the bequest, the shares that we were gifted, and the subsidy, come to $1.36 million. So three unexpected items have made us look, given us a very healthy financial position for the year. So we're grateful for those three things. Obviously, if we hadn't have got those three unexpected items this year, we may have had a loss potentially up to $200,000. So although it looks like very healthy, there were some unusual items, so we're grateful for those. That's really the summary of the year. We certainly don't make a profit of $1.1 million regularly, and as with all organisations, as you know, some years you do better than others, and we believe this year we've set a budget which will be a loss, or budgeted loss, of maybe $260,000. But we're obviously working on that, and we will be trying to do much better than budget and drive to try and end the year as at least a break even. So revenue in and expenditure the same. So we're working hard to achieve that this year. All the details of the financials are in the report. There's a lot of pages of financials. So for people like myself, it's great. A lot of normal people maybe get a bit bored with the details, but the details are there. If you wish to look and have a look through, then please do so. So that's really my summary, and hopefully you're all still awake and excited and the finances haven't turned people off. So happy to take any questions, but if not, thank you all for your time, and hope to see you all again sometime. Silence.
Are there any questions at this point? That's okay. If you go away and you read the accounts and you do have some questions, please get in touch. People like Pete absolutely love questions. They thrive on it. Pete, sign name Pete, because his sign name is Pete, not because he likes guns, nothing to do with guns. He's an Arsenal football club. He's a soccer supporter. He's an Arsenal supporter. So that's why he's got the sign name Pete. So yes, if you do have any questions or concerns around the finances, please do get in touch. Take your time to go through the accounts, ask any questions you have anytime. So just send your questions through. Yeah, because Pete and Joanne Key, who's been our accountant now for 20 years, Joanne loves these sort of questions. So please send them through. Yes, Kevin Stokes, the back here, was asking if Joanne's keys to it. Yes. I think you might have been.
Hi from me.
Yes, I will say hi. I'll say hi to you to Joanne from Kevin. I think you might have even employed Joanne when you were president on the board. Kevin. You might have been involved in that. So can't remember. But Joanne, very good accountant. Pete's very good accountant. We've got a great team up there. So please ask any questions you have, any concerns, if anything doesn't look right, please get in touch. All right. At that point, we'll ask that the annual accounts be accepted as per what's been presented. I'm proposing it. Kevin is seconding it. Probably another member actually. If we could have another member, so Kevin's either proposed or seconded. Just put another member. I'll call Kevin as the proposer. Yeah, and just a seconder. If we can have a seconder, just one more hand from the audience. Joyce Ferguson is seconded. So Kevin proposed it and that they be accepted, and Joyce has seconded.
No, Joyce Stockwell.
Joyce Stockwell. Oh, sorry. It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years. Sorry, Joyce. Sorry.
I wish,
Wrist slap.
I wish to go back to Ferguson, but no.
Oh, okay. I just don't have an agenda in front of me. What's next? Actually, I'll keep talking. So those of you involved, just a bit of chit chat at the back here. Thank you, Kevin. Those of you who are involved in organisations such as the deaf clubs and the sports organisations and the social organisations, your financial accounts get audited every year, as do ours. So for the last 7 years, we've been using an auditing company called RSM. They've changed names a couple of times over the time we've been using them. We've been using RSM. They're quite a big firm. If you look online, you'll find out all about them. In that 7 years, we've changed audit partner once. So the audit partner is basically the guy who manages and oversees the auditing of our accounts. So the reason we changed the audit partner is to get a fresh set of eyes on the accounts. Because if you're looking at the accounts year after year, you might not find the errors and so forth. You might not pick up if anything's going wrong. So you get a new audit partner in to have a fresh look at the accounts and to check that everything's above board, that we're doing everything correctly, we're following the rules, that we're counting the money and appropriating the money effectively. So we looked to, because it's been 7 years, we thought it'd be a good idea just to see if there was a better option out there, just to get fresh set of eyes over the accounts. We went out and got a quote from another large, well-known auditing agency. I won't mention their name here. Got another quote from another large auditing organisation. The other quote was more expensive, so we've decided to stay with RSM. So we're going to continue on with RSM because they're doing a good job. They're well known, and they are being very effective in managing themselves and making sure that they change their audit partners. We'll probably be due to change audit partners again in the next year or two to make sure we get a fresh set of eyes over our accounts. And I mentioned Joanne and Pete before around their skills and their passions and what they're really committed to. The audit week or the audit weeks of the year happens across a few weeks through the sort of June through to finishes up in September. They love it. It's their favourite time of the year. It's like their pinnacle of their work for the year, and they take a lot of pride in making sure that our accounts are they're well presented, and that we're doing everything above board, and that we don't get any large errors or concerns raised. And that's been very consistent for a number of years now, that when the auditors come in, they don't find any big problems. They make some recommendations on how we can improve and so forth, but they're not raising any concerns of any of any magnitude. So yeah, thanks again to Pete and Joanne for doing a really good job managing our money and so forth, because we're a semi-big organisation. We have money coming in from many different sources and money going out from different sources. So there's a lot of workings that goes on behind the scenes that I don't understand, but I have absolute faith and trust in the work that they do. I think I'd now like to ask Craig to come up and talk about confirming our solicitors, please.